this streamer's best friend of 25 years betrayed him and stole at least $50,000 whilst living in his house. What is up, winning team? Welcome back to another episode of The World Does Not Disappoint in Being Disappointing. And I have to tell you guys about this because it's like, you guys know I'll be a pessimist, all right? There's a few things I want to address in all of this, particularly what, like, you know how obviously this is called the winning team, and I say to you guys that one of the reasons I feel like winning isn't worth it is because when you're like on top, it's not even just about like what it reveals about you as an individual, but what it reveals about those around you is terrifying, especially when you realize how quick people, there's two sides to it. You have the entitlement of those around you that like, hey, you're doing good, and so like you should help me out, blah blah blah. And then obviously you have the personal want to actually do that, and then there's finding the balance. But this example and this story is going to help you guys to understand why a lot of people, when they're on top, end up sounding like the villain when actually they're not, because in secret they're dealing with stuff like this, and they're dealing with other people who are losers, who are actually not taking advantage of the potential opportunities. Because I even said to you guys the other day, there's somebody that I know, and I went out of my way, I found out about an opportunity that would help them literally for the rest of their life. And it was something I couldn't do because I'm not in the same situation that they're in. And I just went out of my way to like say, hey, by the way, there's this opportunity. This is going to really put you forward. I don't want to specify what it is because then, I don't know, if the person ever sees the video, they'll know I'm talking about them. But I did it because I knew they were not going to do it. Even though it was going to cost them minimal effort and like minimal money. When I say minimal money, I'm talking about less than £20. Think about that. Think about a solution that's going to save you money for the rest of your life. It cost you less than £20. It wouldn't even have been that much, even less. But I'm putting it on the highest scale. So anyway, and technically that £20 I didn't even have to actually do, but it was more like as a courtesy for the opportunity. Whatever. But anyways, so to the people doing it, I mean. Anyway, lo and behold, I did it as an experiment, knowing that they weren't going to take they weren't going to take it, and they didn't. And they're going to be the same person who's going to complain about this very same type of thing and struggling with this and struggling with that in the years and weeks and months to come. And it's like, you see, I did this so that next time when I'm up, like, I know this sounds bad, I intentionally try to, when I'm building, in the past I did it purely out of love, and now I do out of love and also future protection, go out of my way to also let other people know of the opportunities that I'm taking, so that when I'm winning, I'm going to have this stuff to reference back to. So this is me playing my game of life. So let me tell you about this guy, because this guy reminds me of a lot of people I've known throughout my life who I would describe as losers. So the whole story starts with a streamer called Your Age, and I don't really watch, to be honest guys, I don't watch live streams live ever. Unfortunately, I'm too much into adulting to be able to do something like that. But I do watch their videos, and they like take chunks of their streams and put them on YouTube, and I will watch those, even the long ones. But yeah, he's not somebody I watch frequently, but I've seen some of his videos. And he seems like just your average, just, you know, the type of people where I'm like, good on ya, you've got your community, you're doing well for yourself, just living his life, not being extreme or doing anything unnecessary just for the sake of attention, you know, just minding his business with his community. And that's what I kind of like about streamers versus like influencers and like YouTubers, is they kind of just are okay with just having their community and being in their like corner of the internet with their community, and they're not so like desperate to be seen by the whole world and to gain 1 million followers or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway, so he has his friend called, so his actual name is Joshua, but we'll call him Rage because that's what he's known as. And his best friend is called Greg. Now, Greg, here. So the story starts that Joshua, see, I'm going to call him Joshua. Whenever I know somebody's real name, I always call them that. I think it's because growing up, especially in this town, a lot of the guys just think it was so cool to call themselves all these names, and I hated them. So my way, I would always refer to them by their actual first name, and they didn't like it. Anyway, like their government name, as we would say here. But so Rage starts the story by saying, so he's sitting on the plane about to come back to the States. He's been in Europe, I think. A lot of people were in Europe, a lot of like streamers and stuff, hence me not traveling, by the way. The reason I've been very happy not to be in Europe and very happy not to be in America this period of time is too many social media people are just, nah. I don't like traveling I like to go to places where I'm like the only tourist around and like I can just blend into the background and just observe. I don't want to be there while there's like big world events and like all the streamers of the Anna. So, and that's why I never go to see the Sideline charity match in person, because it's like, yeah, no. Anyways, so Rage starts a whole video explaining how he was on the plane. He'd been away for about 2 months or so, and he was coming back, and he gets a call from his accountant who's basically like, are you spending more money on your account at the moment? Because basically a lot more money than usual was coming out of his personal account, which is under his name Joshua, versus his business account, which is under Your Rage, which is his brand, right? So he does most of his spending because, of course, even while he's traveling and he's doing everything he's doing as a part of his work, which hence why I think these guys are genius, because they get to do all this stuff and they get to write a lot of it off of write off a lot of their taxes because it's considered part of their expenses, while the rest of us who are laughing at them as idiots are paying all this tax just to still, for you guys in the United States, pay for healthcare, the school system to be destroying your kids. Anyway, whatever. So he gets this call, and he had a sinking feeling, like, oh my gosh, it must be Greg. So he lives with, I think, 4 of them, or there was 5. There was 4 of them, I think. Then they were all like friends since young. Bearing in mind, Rage is the same age as me. He's born in 97. I'm actually a few months older than him. So he'll be 29 next month. And he has been friends with this guy since he was 3 years old. 3 years old, yeah. And so this guy is like, he's like, no way. Gets back to the house. Now, I haven't told you guys the backstory about Greg, and I'm going to, because then you're going to see how insane this is, yeah. So he comes home, and he's panicking for the whole flight, obviously, because he's thinking, what's happening with all my money? Like, where's my money going? And of course, thank God for his accountant for being so good at their job and keeping on top of it, you know. And this is, again, where it's like, loser idiots don't realize that people aren't just rich because they're just rich. They have to be smart about it. They have things like accountants and stuff who help them manage their money well and all of this, so they can actually stay rich and get richer. The reason you're broke sometimes is also because you should start developing rich, like, what do you call it? Characteristics whilst you're broke. Do you know what I mean? And so this is where I'm like, when people be like, oh, you should help those around you. It's like, but what if they don't want to help themselves? Because as you're going to see, because let's not forget the detail of Greg staying in his house. So he's not paying to be there. He's just staying at the house and whatever. And so while he's away, one would think, you know, he would just, you know, be making sure, taking care of the place. Well, we'll get into Greg's personal situation in a second. So the next thing, Rage arrives home, and he sees his dogs, and they're all bloody and they've got all wounds on them, and he's panicking. He goes inside to like go and get the like medical kits to try and treat the dogs because he's wondering what happened. And then he realizes that his room is absolutely burning hot, and now his lizards have died because his room is supposed to be kept at a certain temperature, which just goes for a lot of animals, you know. I remember even when I had goldfish, I used to have in my goldfish tank, I used to have a temperature meter on the side, and I would throw in like ice cubes and stuff now and then to try and make sure to keep the water cool, especially on like days like this for the fish, because it couldn't get too hot for them, you know. And it wasn't a big enough tank where I was going to have like a cooling system, you know what I mean? I just had like not like a tiny little fish bowl, but like it was a decent sized fish tank, whatever. So the lizards are dead. Why am I mentioning this? say you're staying at your friend's house and your friend is literally paying for, you've got access to your friend's private chef. You haven't got to do anything for like all this time. At the very least, I think it's courteous to like look after the house, maintain the house, you know what I mean? Because I would be like, you know what I mean? Like make sure that the animals are well looked after. That's like the very bare minimum least. Because how could you be so selfish? Like, what are you really doing that's so important? Because bro wasn't doing nothing, by the way. Bro wasn't doing nothing. All bro was doing, well, we'll come to that. So then Rage is like just going through all these things that he's having to deal with all of a sudden, like the wondering about the money thing. Now his pets, his dogs are been hurt. And it turns out it's because they got into a fight with the other dogs because the people he left the dogs with thought that they would get on and it would be fun, which again, I'm just like, that's the kind of thing I would never do. If I was left with somebody's pet, yeah, I would have to just be like, maybe that's fine and maybe whatever, but like, I'm not the owner of this dog or whatever. So, and I don't know enough I'm not prepared to make that call because if something bad happens, I can't let anything bad happen and I can't even risk it. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't even risk it. That's my thing. I'm like, I wouldn't even risk it. The heck? I need to keep these dogs better be alive and loving life and well when they come back, you know. And these are also guard dogs, mind you. So again, they've been trained to like protect the house, you know. So, and I've been there, like I said, when I was in Italy, they had guard dogs. And so like, you know, anytime you deal with like the guard dogs, there's always like a way that they are kind of shown the people like to trust by like the people who are there guarding, like kind of being like, okay, these guys are good, yeah, go and assess this one, you know what I mean? So anyway, so the next thing, he's seen this. He then goes to find out that indeed it was Greg. So Greg had been taking out money because he goes to see him and he's like, bro, because he'd been staying in the guest house. So he walks in there and he's like, bro, give me your phone. Gives the guy his phone and he sees on there that some pretty insane things. So just a lot of stuff. First of all, what he had noticed and what made him think it was his friend, while he was looking at his banking statements on the app on his phone, he's noticing that there's always somebody taking out money from the ATM around the corner from where they live and at the Walgreens across the road from where they live, or the other way around. Yeah? So it's like, so this isn't some like scammer in another country, or this person wasn't even smart enough to at least, you know, go far away. This is what I'm saying. He's sloppy. Just even how sloppy he was with this just goes to show even more how much a loser he is. Because if you were even at least good at what you did, this is what I mean when I say, if you're going to be in the losing team, like be good at what you do. Like be one of these, like be a Pablo, okay, no, I'm going to say Pablo Escobar because I don't know, whatever, let's not use him as an example. Be like I don't know. Oh yeah. No, I don't know. But you know, like somebody who actually does it big. You know what I'm saying? Anyway. So that's why he has suspected it was Greg. And again, because it's on his personal account. And I bet you, again, just like how a lot of loser-minded people think, which is why they also, this is what I mean when I talk about like broke loser characteristics. People that will think, oh, so-and-so's got this amount of money, so they probably even won't notice if this amount of money's gone on. They probably won't even miss that amount of money. Because you think that just having loads of money means you can just throw it around. That's why people get rich, they win the lottery, and then they go broke. Because of thinking in that manner. Because the reality is, no. A lot of rich people and a lot of wealthy people are wealthy because they are very smart and very disciplined with how they're spending their money. They have accountants, they have advisors, they have budgets. You know, I was thinking about this, how a lot of people, when they like start a business, the business will kick off and do well. And then let's say they make their first 100,000 or like their first 500,000. Loser way of thinking would be, oh my gosh, I can finally buy myself that car I always wanted. Oh my goodness, I'm going to go and get myself that Chanel. I've always wanted to take a 1 month trip to, I don't know, Switzerland. I'm trying to think of somewhere that's expensive. you know, and then burn through a lot of that money. A lot of smart, rich people took most of their money they made for the first however many years, regardless of how much it was, and put it all the way back into the company. Like, so they will still live their normal life. Still, a lot of them go to their normal job, or not, or maybe not go to their normal job, but then not necessarily pay themselves a salary more than just, you know, their rent or whatever. Put all the money back. Then their business booms again. Put all the money back. And then before you know it, now once they're up there and they've got way more than enough money, they still will have a budget and a way of spending, because they know that money can go at any time. And so they better be wise with it. So I think this guy, everything about this story, it's like all the loser characteristics all in one. Because what this guy was also spending money on, was women. Yeah, you guessed it. So on his phone, he found that in order for him to get these women to keep coming to see him at this house, he was sending them money. He was sending them money and promising he can get money. He was doing money, he was like flashing the money like in video to these women, yeah, to show off, saying that, oh, I've got more and more of Josh's money, don't worry about it, I've got plenty of Josh's money. I couldn't believe it, yeah, showing off. And then so there was that. And then you wonder why he's spending the money, taking money out for cash. Rage said he can't talk about some of the stuff because he said if you knew, we would be castrating him, and that some of the stuff has to be dealt with in court. But he was flashing to these women, about all this. And you know what the other funny part is about all of this? Bro is the whole time is just doing a whole load of nothing. And do you know what's funny? He's actually quite handsome, the guy. The guy's quite handsome as well, like, because people always feel like, oh, especially men, oh, if I'm not handsome, I'm not this. It's your loser characteristics are the only thing that works against you, actually. Because I was like, he's quite good looking, but do you know what he does? He's been living at that house for over a year, and all he does is smoke weed. You're literally in a content house. You've literally been seen in your friend's content, and his community know you. Literally, why are you not doing the same thing? Why are you still? Because this is how losers are. They want somebody else to do the work. And then they want to feel entitled when they see someone they know doing well. Like, oh, you forgot about me. And there'll always be those loser idiots, right? Buffoons, by the way. Oh. Who will be the ones who start the interviews about like exposing. He'll be the type to do like an exposing your age. And how he is. Ever since he's been famous, he's just not the same anymore. And it's like when you all had the same opportunity, you're literally in the guy's house. You're not paying rent there. You're not paying for anything there. In fact, you're getting everything from this man. You, in that time that you've been there, haven't then decided to actually get serious for yourself. All you've done is smoke weed. All you've done is smoke weed. Like, this is what I'm saying when I say that some people are not willing to put in the work. They're really not, but they're wanting to gain the same benefits as if they did. Like, he's just doing nothing at all. And then you know the who will fall for it and feel sorry for him, be the Jew of the sheep, who are like, oh, this is so. Because imagine if Rage never posted because he showed the video, he made a video calling his friend out in front of him, like videoing the ex-friend now. And if he hadn't done that, the Jew of the sheep would have been like, can't believe Rage kicked out his friend of 25 years. How horrible can you be to one of your day ones? And everyone would have taken the guy's side. So for Rage to even be able to explain to the fans who now love this other guy, he now has to be the one to get messy. That's what I'm saying when I say I don't want to be in any kind of relationship. Because if someone does me dirty who was around me, and then I have to remove them from my life, and then I end up being made to look like the bad guy because I'm expected to keep my mouth shut so that I'm not messy now. Like, I hate this world. I hate it here. I actually hate it. And then Greg tried to like cry, because now Greg was crying. You see, the guy who was all flashing about the money, doing all the money fan, he was begging girls on camera, on his phone. Now when his friend is in front of him, this is what I mean when I say, how loser men behave when the other men aren't there, and this is why they don't help. Stuff like this, I'm so glad, is out there so that the other men of the world can realize that they just don't behave like this when you're there. If you've never seen a guy act like that, that's because why? That's probably why they've been friends for 25 years. Because they don't behave like this around you. Because they know you're scarier. Because bro had clearly been, had a few physical consequences, let's just say, on behalf of Josh for what he did, which, I mean, the fact that someone was like, I think he's filming this so that he doesn't do worse than what he might do right now. Because again, now, yeah, I mean, like, bro, standing there looking like a little scorn and feeling sorry for yourself. What a waste of a beautiful face as well. But this is what people support, though. These are the types of people. This is who the people of the world will get behind. If not for Rage coming out with everything and explaining it, all he had to do was be like, I can't believe that, Rage would kick me out, and everyone would have taken his side. So then again, still Rage would have been forced. That's what I'm saying. It's not worth having people in your life at all, because then it's like you're always forced in. If there's even one loser amongst the group, so that's why I say it's like the life of traitors. If there's one loser amongst the group, you're never going to get away from chaos and drama, because they love the chaos and drama. And they love the chaos and the drama. So, whatever. So anyway, the reason why Greg was there in the first place, and this is the bit that gets me, this is a level of happiness I aspire to get to, because I'm looking at this house here. I'm trying to, how do I show you guys this without showing this wood? They've covered their bins with stickers. What degrees of happiness in life bring you to the point that is a level of joy I wish to experience on earth, and not just with God, but that anyway. And so the reason why Greg was there in the first place is because his mom, he was like, his mom didn't want him, the ladies didn't want him, so his mom essentially, I guess, kicked him out. And so he was left essentially homeless and with nowhere to go. So that's why Rage was like, you know what, come and stay with me. As anybody would think a good friend's supposed to do, right? This is what I mean. This is exactly what I'm saying. And the only reason we don't hear about this, I was just thinking about this, I was putting my shoes on to come outside. The only reason we don't hear more about this is because if good things happen to you, or when somebody does you good, everybody's allowed to talk about it. But if bad things happen or somebody does you badly, for some reason, we're all supposed to keep that silent. Think about it. If somebody even asks you a question as simple as, how are you? Most of the time, the expectation is that you just say, oh, I'm good, thanks, and you? What if I'm terrible? What if I'm walking to the bridge to jump? You can't say that. Do you see what I'm saying? This is why I hate society and all these rules and all this just calculating, because some people are like, because Greg tried to be like, yeah, but you gave me your card, because one time they went to the gas station and while Rage was filling his car, Greg had gone in because he wanted to get some snacks because bro had the munchies, and Rage just gave him the card to like go in, and yeah, to get some snacks, and also to get, I guess, I don't know, whatever he was putting inside. I don't know, he used this term, which I believe is probably like a slang term for like tobacco or something, I don't know. Anyway, and then he goes in to buy that, comes back out, and gives the card back, and that's the day he's referencing when he says, but you gave me your card. So anyways, he was crying. They were both crying. It was sad. Rage had a tear on his face, and the other guy was also crying, and he was just standing there like in his boxers and a t-shirt, looking just stupid. And you know what, the thing that I find the most telling of the whole situation, is this. Greg's behavior is exactly how loser-like people behave. You know, like how I always say that winners focus on themselves, and you take advantage of whatever cards you've been dealt and whatever opportunities are around you, and you make it work. He's living in a house with streamers, or at least one. I don't know if the other two stream as well, but he's there. So how many of these guys, the sidemen were the first to do it, I believe. Was it the sidemen who were first, or was it FaZe? I think it was the sidemen. But a lot of them did it, A lot of these groups came together. They got even the flipping OnlyFans girls have a content house, for flip's sake. They come together in these houses, and then they all make content alone and with each other. I mean, that's why I loved watching Kai Cenat stream so much at home, because it'd be funny. And I'll give you a perfect example of something that Greg could have done. So, like, because Rage was going to be away, he could have really used this as his launch pad to like gain attention from Rage's audience as well and others by making that like the whole season of stuff he's going to do like while Rage isn't there. You know what I mean? Especially because his name is Rage, which is like the least rageous person actually, to be honest. But and he could have just said instead, right, oh, I'll go and do just random things. Because like, for example, in the AMP house, which is, you know, where Kai, Phantom, Agent and all of that, Phantom obviously has this thing of the Phantom tax. Whenever anyone would see any of the other boys eating while they were streaming, Phantom would bust through the door and come and take some of their food as Phantom tax, right? And it was just an ongoing joke that would always happen, that as soon as somebody was eating on stream, within seconds, Phantom would bust into the door. And this is how it was genius, because they're getting everybody to collaborate across all their streams in one. Because if people are watching Kai's stream and Kai starts eating, then they all go to Phantom's stream to say, Kai's eating, Kai's got food. And then, of course, within seconds, he pops up. So it's fun, it's interactive, right? And so because of this, when Phantom was away, Agent and Chris came into Phantom's room and they put a table with a huge, and they ate all this Dominican food because obviously Phantom's Dominican. And then they were just like streaming themselves doing it. It was completely innocent fun because Phantom couldn't get there. It's his country, his culture's food. It was so funny. It's one of the funniest videos actually, and I actually watched it more than once because then Phantom calls them, and it's just all a bit of fun. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's having a giggle. Why couldn't he have been doing stuff like that? Instead, he's stealing money, right? Begging women to come and see him that he's then having to pay and beg to be with. Like, how much more of a loser? Like, have respect. Like, this is something I wish I could say to a lot of men, you know. Have some self-respect. If your woman's putting you through all of this, it's either one of two things. Either you deserve better from her, or you need to do better yourself to not have to be in that situation. Because even this guy, I was like, get a gym routine, get a better outfit, and get a better attitude. Because probably the reason why you have to beg women, these kinds of behaviors, even if you think you're hiding them, your energies don't lie. You know what I mean? Energies don't lie. It's the same way like how, you know, people say a baby can spot a good person, or, you know, even animals. It's the same thing. It's because you can pretend anything you like and be anything how you want. Your energy will speak for itself. So a lot of people, that the reason why they're in the situations that they're in, is because all that's happening is you are dealing with the consequences of the energy that you give off. And it's as simple as that. You're not giving off good energy. You're not giving off good vibes. You might try everything, but it's like, and I've met so many people where it's like, on the outside, everything makes sense, but in my head, I'm like, something's just off. And it's almost like I can see the glimpse of like the demon behind. You know, this is why a lot of people who everybody trusts so much, I don't trust. This is exactly why, because I'm like looking at them and I'm like, something's off here. Like, something's actually off. And then lo and behold, stuff like this, you know, and then I'm like, oh, this is what was really going on all along. You know, in situations exactly like this, where it's like, yeah, and you know what's sad about it all? The saddest part is that everything people have to say to Rage, and this is again why I'm not interested in friendship, family, love, whatever, is, oh, well, you know, you should have, there must have been signs, there must have been, like, it's always on the person who's been done wrong to somehow have had to do all this knowledge and have had all this stuff to like have prevented anything from happening. Oh, but there must have been signs. Oh, you must have noticed this. Oh, but you need to put up this boundary. And like, if I have to put up 1 billion boundaries with somebody who's supposed to be my best friend of 25 years, that sentence doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, you're my best friend of 25 years, but I have to put up all these boundaries so you don't take advantage of me. Surely after 25 years, that should be 25 years of trust and loyalty where I'm like, I know you wouldn't take advantage of me because you're supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? It just goes to show that society accepts having relationships where you just are a title and you just get to be that, however you use it, whether you actually live up to being what a friend should be or not. And I've been in situations, guys. I've been in a situation that I don't really want to talk about. Yeah, but where I had access to a lot of somebody's money at a time. They were incapable of accessing them themselves, and not only that, are incapable of accessing me and the tens of thousands. And I did not steal. I did not do anything like this. So that's why I know, because I wouldn't do it. Even if somebody did me wrong, I wouldn't still then use it as an excuse. Like, oh, in that time, this is my revenge. Even if, in fact, if you did me bad, I will make sure to definitely not take advantage, not even more, because I wouldn't do it. So that I could be like, God, you're seeing this, right? You're seeing this. Like, I'm going to do good. Because now that's even worse on you. And now you have to live with the guilt that you'll still feel. You might pretend in front of everybody else, but at the end of the day, you're going to feel it inside that, wow, I did her wrong, and she still could have done me even more wrongly in that moment, and she chose not to. And then now you have to deal with the fact that you're the filth of the earth. You're the sick filth of this earth, and this is the kind of person you are, and you are disgusting. And that, knowing that you are going to have to be confronted with that, would be more satisfying to me anyway. But also, I don't want to be like you. I don't want to operate off of negative vibes. I don't want to have to do this stuff, because again, if he's the best friend, his friend's already doing all of this for him. All he had to do was maybe say, yo, bro, so I've decided, I've been thinking about streaming myself. I've been in your streams and stuff. I know this is a lot to ask, but could you hook me up with a setup? You know what I mean? And you could even just say that once he makes the money, he'll pay him back. I doubt Rage would have made him pay him back anyway. But I wouldn't. If I was in that position, I'm not. And that's the other thing where people are always so obsessed with in relationships with if I can help somebody out, I'm not going to be sitting there breaking my brain trying to get the money back, unless I actually really needed it and I gave it to them when I wasn't in a good position. But sometimes I'm like, is it that deep? Can we not just do things out of love anymore? Just do it out of love. This is what I'm saying. I don't want to participate in all these relationships. I don't need to be told why not to take advantage of people. I don't like drama. I don't want to steal. I don't want to do nothing like that. And I like to do things out of love. Out of love, not out of entitlement from somebody else. You know what I mean? Out of love. Not out of what I can get from them or get out of it or get in return. You know what I mean? So anyways, that's that story. And so, yeah. Like I said, this is the loser behavior. This is the losers I be talking about. This is exactly it, because people act like once you're on top and those around you aren't there with you, it's always the thing of, oh, forgot those around you. What about this? What about that? If you really wanted to help. Some people you can't help because they don't even help themselves. Because having that kind of chaos at his house is not helpful. Because imagine if he's bringing these scatty girls to the house as well. Imagine if he's bringing these scatty girls into the house where all of his stuff is, just so that he can, have sex with them or force them or pay them or whatever. Yeah. You've got to be so careful when you're at the top, because there's so much to lose. And most importantly, the very money that he is stealing, he's only getting because of what he's doing and how he protects himself, both financially, both physically, at the house and all the stuff. So if he wasn't the way he was, and if he wasn't doing all of that, you wouldn't even have that money. So that's just the most dumbest thing. It's no wonder it's not you. No wonder you're not the rich one. No wonder you're not the one who's getting all the opportunities, because you are not that person. You're not the one. Like I said, guys, I've seen it so many times, and I'm experiencing it in my life now, because I'm giving people opportunities. I'm like, hey, look, there's this thing. Let's build together. Let's have this, because I know it's not going to go to anything. And then when for 10 years, and this is what I don't want. And this is why I'm just like, God, you know what? I don't want to win on this planet, because what I don't want is I don't want to have to be dealing with, oh, I'm on top now, but because somebody decided to make a TikTok series or something, because this is what they do, because they love the chaos. They love the chaos of it all. They love the degenerate things. So they love an interview yeah, it's really hard for me to talk about, because can you believe we were friends for 25 years? Oh, I'm finally glad to share my story. They do that dramatic scene where it's the camera angle starts on the chair, and then the person walks in, and then the words will come onto the screen in a really dramatic way. And then the person talking will be like, thank you for coming today. You're really strong for deciding to share such a difficult time in your life. So take me to the beginning of how it all started. Obviously, where you guys are at now isn't good anymore, but I'm sure in the beginning, take me back to those days when you were both 3 years old and you became friends. What was it like? And then obviously we'll have to get to, the more difficult stuff, because I can't begin to understand hand on shoulder what it must be like to be betrayed by your best friend of 25 years. That is absolutely heartbreaking. And meanwhile, they're talking about Greg. Get me out of this place. Get me out of here. I hate it here. When you guys wonder why I hate it here, this is why. This is why I hate it here. And this is why I say we cannot tolerate snakes in the garden. I'm not being harsh. I'm not being whatever. I'm saying everything's going to come tumbling down. It's not just that they're going to be a little nuisance in the corner, because apparently Rage had a couple people say, you do too much for this guy. And that's what I'm saying. You can't win again. You know, some people saying he's doing too much for the guy. Other people saying, how could you know your friend was homeless and you didn't let him come and stay with you while he gets himself back on his feet? So you have to do more calculations than all the algebra I've ever taught or done in my entire life. I'd rather do that. This is why I love teaching maths and science. I'm like, how comes everybody loves relationships but hates maths? I love maths and I hate relationships for this reason. X is X and 1 is 1 and 2 is 2. When it comes to relationships, you can't win. And when you're the winner, you especially can't win with the jury of the sheep, because everybody has an opinion. Oh, you could have done more for them. Oh, you gave them £100, but you should have really given them 200, because 200 wouldn't have been that much. Oh, why would you give that person £500? £500 is way too much to have given. You know what I mean? It's like I'm like, you know what? You guys all enjoy your chaos over there, and I'm just going to enjoy my peace. That's why I just want to go and be with the Lord, away from all of this, and be just with you guys in the promised land, or we can just reconfigure what we should actually be doing. That's not this, what we're currently doing. I just want to do that, because that's literally, I'm sick of it. Anyway, I'm actually going to genuinely skedaddle now, for now. But yeah, guys, if life's a game, has played to win. It's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Tell me I'm wrong. And this is something that just happened in the last week. Literally, I come away from anime for 1 second, and there's so many more other stories, but we'll come back to that. Anyways, guys, if life's a game, it's played to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.